Welcome to the Mike Miller Show.
Will I be a good man? Will I be true? True to myself, be true to you.
Happy America. Happy America. I've done that before. Happy Monday, America. Happy Monday, Jessica. So Jessica, we got a lot to talk about today. Obviously we got Hillary stuff, we got Trump stuff. Which we have not had for a while. We got some university stuff. You know how I like to go after
Yes.
some of their nonsense. We have some racial hypocrisy stuff to talk about.
Okay.
And we got to talk about the Pope. I just kind of not forewarned you, but kind of give you a little Cliff Notes before we came on. But the Pope is at it again, and oddly, he indirectly agrees with Barack Obama on the whole Islamic terrorism thing. So we got that. But first, let me know. I mean, have you paid attention to the Olympics? Have you watched anything?
No, I haven't, but I did hear that they had trouble getting in, that somebody lost the keys to the gym or something.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, that's the only thing that really.
So like for the opening ceremony? No, for some event somewhere?
I don't know. I think it was for the athletes to train, like they lost the keys to the gym or something. And the other thing that's been blowing up my Facebook is like the Tongan guy that was all greased up at the opening
I
ceremony.
didn't see that either.
Yeah, those are the two things that I've heard about that. But other than that, I have not paid
Did you see anything about the air quote luxury accommodations in the Olympic Village? Any images or whatever from the athletes?
No, I have not seen
It's just unbelievable. I mean, and they've been tweeting. Athletes and coaches have been tweeting images from the luxury accommodations. One of them. So you have this. It was just like kind of a faux marble, whatever. What do you call it? Like a pretend marble, like a countertop in the bathroom, and it didn't even have like a cabinet behind it or underneath it. It just I don't know how they did it because it looked to be about 1.5 inches thick. It was attached to the wall, but the sink, which had those things are glued underneath, right?
Yeah.
Had fallen off, and it was in pieces on the floor. That one was pretty impressive.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
There was a story about, I want to say athletes from Kenya, but going out and buying some like cheap like furniture to hold TVs that they had to buy, and just completely atrocious. You know, I was speaking of conditions in Rio. I mean, you do know about, right, going into the thing like they were going to be swimming in poop and that whole bit, right?
Yeah. Well, that they were just like still building stuff as people were arriving. Yeah.
Back to the poop thing. I mean, they have pumped raw sewage into whatever that bay or bays are for decades. For decades. Yeah.
That's a disaster. They're living in like what 1700s or 1600s Europe.
I never thought of it this way because I mean, you have Copacabana Beach and all that stuff, but there's like a lot of third world stuff going on there. They economically they're in ruins. Politically they're in ruins, but I happen to be flipping through the channels Saturday, I think, and it was a women's cycling event, and it was a long one. So you probably seen that stuff from the Tour de France,
yes,
and what have you, right? Where the cars are following them, the cameras. But man, looking through some of the neighborhoods and stuff that they were going through on this thing, and the filth in the streets, and just not proper pavement and stuff. I was thinking if that was your best route, I can only imagine some of those that you turned down.
Seriously.
Oh man, it was just unbelievable. But anyway, All right, so just a few highlights, and again, so Katie Ledecky,
Mm-hmm.
you know who she is and what she's accomplished?
Was she the one that won the gold for the shooting thing?
No. See,
Oh,
man, I
see.
thought you would, because I'm not.
I'm not into the like. Well, the thing is, I was into the Olympics before, but it was mostly because I watched them anyways for my job. So now, I did not pay attention to
Why'd you
them
have
at
to watch
all.
them for your job?
I worked at a TV station, and we had the Olympics running on our station.
All right, so that, yeah, that would do it. No, she's a 19-year-old swimmer
Oh,
that,
okay.
that won. She won the 400 meter. I guess you would call it freestyle. This girl, this young woman, nine of now, as of yesterday, nine of the last 10 world records in this event she holds.
Oh, I did hear about her. Yeah, I just didn't know her
So
name.
she just blew. Everybody was racing for second, and the only question was, um, she broke the Olympic record in the trials. The only question was, in the medal round, would she break the world record again? And I was watching how close she came in the qualifying round and thinking, yeah, I don't know. But so after the qualifying round, before the medal round, one of these announcers says he had no doubt that she would not only break her own world record in the medal round, but would shatter it by 2 seconds, which is exactly what happened.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean that's a cool story, and this is hard work, she says, which is what they all say. Incidentally, relative to that, I put up a post the other day. I do not have her name in front of me. It's a complicated name. She's an American, but she is 22. When she was 16, she tweeted that this was in 2011. In 2016, I will graduate from college and be on the U.S. Olympic team, which is exactly what happened.
Wow, she is very determined with everything.
Well, she called it a dream, which was I suspect true at the time. But I was reminded by, and this popped into my head because of my comment about hard work. But there's an old saying: the difference between a dream and a goal is, with a goal, you will do what you must do to accomplish it, and that's the advice that she was giving young girls. So I thought that was kind of a cool story. She's a runner, so track and field has not started yet.
I think that's pretty awesome.
I think that's
I
really.
always think it's I really like the Olympics just to see, what all these people can do. It's just amazing that people can do them. Um and it's also interesting to me like how they're able to actually do it because, I mean just who thinks about like a 16-year-old can go around the world and do this thing, if they're this good, and it's how they find these people and stuff like that. It's just interesting.
Yeah, and when you see some of the stuff like on the balance beam that happens, or on the uneven bars, or even on the floor routine or whatever they call it, it it's just incredible that a human body can do that kind of stuff.
Oh, I agree. It's amazing.
All right, let me ask you an easier name. Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
He comes back at 31. This is his fifth Olympics, which is, do the math and figure it out. That's a 16-year span. Anchors what the heck was it? I don't have it in front of me. 400, some 4x4, whatever. They win the gold medal. His 19th gold medal. By far, the overall most, and I think something like 23 or 24 total medals. So that was kind of cool. And then finally, since we just talked about the balance beam and stuff, these girls, and they are girls, they're just young girls on the U.S. gymnastics team, are just incredible. They won, well, it's again a qualifying round, but by over 10 points, which is it's almost unheard of over the second place country. And you think that these people, I mean, they train incessantly, right, for years, and sometimes these things are decided by less than a tenth of a second. That's how good everybody is. But these girls just blowing everyone away. So I didn't think I would get into it that much this time, but I kind of key on some of those interesting stories, like I just talked about, and it's a cool thing.
It's really cool. And actually, I have a friend that went to Rio for the Olympics as a spectator.
Really,
Yeah, he's posting pictures of them in the stadium and everything all the time.
that's
Pretty
very
cool.
cool. And of course, the men's basketball team blowing everybody out. So, which was expected, but so that's that. I mean, I'm watching it. I'll watch it tonight. It's a nice diversion from Hillary and the Donald.
That's true.
Speaking of which, Drudge Report. I mean, Drudge is Drudge. I mean, it gets, I don't know if it's billions of clicks per month, but billions per year. And it's just the place it's the go-to place. I think Drudge made its name by breaking the Monica Lewinsky thing back in the
I
day.
think that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so Drudge yesterday, this is my big post of the day on Independent Journal Review. When did I put this up? Like 5 hours ago. It's at 178,000 views. And there's 942 people on the site right now. There were upwards of 1,500 for a while. But, which is, again, after I sound like I'm bragging, which I kind of am, I like to throw in the, if this story wasn't resonating, that wouldn't happen. Because there are lots of stuff that we write where we think, oh man, this is going to be like a grand slam.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not. But so here's my headline, and then I'll tell you what it's about. Drudge stunned his readers with pic of Hillary being helped up stairs, as in up the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
Just one problem. So Drudge had this up for like 12 hours yesterday, and it's a couple of pictures of Hillary. Looks like she almost fell, or at least was struggling. And then there's some guys, presumably her staff, her aides, or maybe a Secret Service agent or two, literally grabbing her by the arms and helping her up the stairs.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was on Drudge. Like, I mean, you've clicked on Drudge, right?
Yeah, I've seen it.
I mean, this
I've
was
seen
the
it before.
banner thing, where it's the picture and it's the large font underlined 2 or 3 or 4
Yes.
statements right under the pic.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like breaking news on Drudge yesterday. There's just one problem.
What?
This so-called breaking news happened 6 months ago.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, no intent there, right?
Seriously.
So he lays out. He's got 2009 under this image. 2009, falls going to the White House, broken elbow. 2010, falls boarding a plane. 2012, falls at home, blood clot. 2016, Hillary conquers the stairs. You know what? I mean, I've railed against Hack Hannity, Sean Hack Hannity. Drudge is right up there with Hannity. I mean, this site has been pro-Trump since the beginning. And I think based as it being kind of the go-to, because it's an aggregator. All it does is it's got story after story after story, and the content, you just click on it, and then it goes to whatever site, the origin of that particular story. I think it should be better than that.
It usually is. I mean, I haven't been there recently, so I hadn't seen the difference. But yeah,
It's been pro-Trump from the beginning. I mean, he's subtle about it, right, to an extent. But I mean, this thing's 6 months old. Nobody knows if she actually fell or not. And I'm not. Y'all know what I think about Hillary Clinton and whether she is competent to be president. But I just think this is underhanded, and we're going to, well, maybe we're not, because I'm just so over Hannity, he went on a Twitter rant over the weekend against a Wall Street Journal editor, Brian Stelter, who's the CNN host of Reliable Sources. But Stelter caught this right off the bat Saturday, picked it up, I guess, the American Mirror, and I linked to them too in the post. He tweeted about it and went to the source of the original caption of these very pictures. In part, the caption said, Hillary Clinton visits the nonprofit South Carolina Strong, a 2-year residential facility that helps felons, substance abusers, and homeless move into self-sufficiency on February 24th, 2016 in North Carolina. And of course, the Hillary detractors, of which I am one, but I wouldn't stoop to, once I knew what this is about, I wouldn't do it anyway, had a field day on Twitter, posting stuff about her, pictures of her falling, walking into that plane, and this other guy did a collage image. Why is Hillary always stumbling, tripping, and falling? There's some great pictures out there of her drinking.
Yeah.
Have you seen the one where she's on the plane holding a martini or whatever, and she's got her head to the side and she's hanging on the overhead rack, and just looks like she's completely in the bag? But I was just surprised that judge would do this.
I didn't see that picture. I seen the one where she was in Colombia, I believe, and they were partying. That one was interesting. I don't know. I don't know, because part of me feels for her, because it might be like I'm extremely accident prone, and like I fall for anything. It really does. So I don't know if that's what's going on, but I think that being in the public eye like that is terrible. Like if it was
It would
me,
suck.
it would, yeah, they would have like just a montage. Like they would probably YouTube videos of me falling 80 bajillion times a day.
Yeah.
Like
All right. So I just sent you my article.
yeah.
Scroll down since we're talking about it, and look at the center image on one of these tweets.
Okay, I'm looking at it. Center image on one of the tweets. Oh, it just shows the link. Which image is it?
Well, it is below the beach bum post, and it says question: Why is Hillary always stumbling, tripping, and falling? There's a whole bunch of pictures there.
Oh, yeah, I see it. I see all the. Like,
Haven't
all
you
the
seen that one
drinking.
before?
I hadn't seen the one with her on the plane, but I
I mean,
seen
she
the
does
other
look
ones.
she does look a tad carefree there,
She
doesn't
does look pretty 3 sheets to the wind there.
she? She does. And you know what? Wouldn't you want to get 3 sheets to the wind every once in a while, going when you're under that kind of scrutiny? And man, it sounds so far like I'm defending Hillary, and I'm not. But it's just I don't know. The Drudge. I'm more picking on Drudge because there should be a standard there that I think he violates from time to time.
Yeah, that didn't need to be on the top. That's kind of ridiculous.
All right, let's shift and talk about Democrats, not necessarily in total, but on a larger scale. Who are these guys? The Democratic Coalition Against Trump. They're a portion, a part of this Keep America Great PAC, and those guys grabbed that name. Apparently, there was not a Keep America Great PAC, because you would guess, without knowing who these guys are, that was definitely pro-Trump.
Yeah.
All right, so let me just do kind of my opening sentence. Democrats who have skewered Donald Trump for more than a year over his immigration policy are filing a complaint asking the federal government to investigate whether Melania Trump violated U.S. immigration laws.
Okay.
I mean, the hypocrisy of Democrats, right? Because everything Trump has said about sending illegals back, which he's since mostly reneged on, about building the wall, everything that he said, they have skewered, they have torched beyond recognition.
Yeah, but yeah, they only hold to that as long as it's somebody on their side doing it.
So And of course, what better tactic to to employ than going after Trump's wife using that same issue? And again, this is not in defense of Donald Trump or anything he said or Melania Trump, but they're requesting documents under the Freedom of Information Act in an effort to reveal, quote, the truth about Melania's immigration to the U.S. I had a couple little quotes here. There is no audio. Nate Lerner is this guy's name. He's the executive director of the organization, explained to the Washington Examiner, quote, she's not running for office, but she is the potential first lady of the U.S., and we need to know if she's being honest. Now, setting aside the question of which one of these candidates has been honest or not, as the case may be, he added this, which is I laughed out loud and I said, I got to write this. And again, quote, it's just another example of their lack of transparency within the Trump campaign, he says, their lack of integrity. It's funny, he says, because he paints Hillary Clinton as this crooked politician, but the email servers compared everything that Trump has said and done, everything that's gone wrong in the campaign is nothing. That's even more ridiculous.
That is very ridiculous. I couldn't stop laughing. That's really funny.
I mean, to suggest that Hillary, of all people, has been transparent, Jessica, during this whole, what is it now, year and a half long investigation into her email scandal, to suggest that she's been transparent is just, it's beyond the pale, as they say. I mean, it is just laughable. Even more laughable. You know, look, I've railed against Donald Trump, and whatever his transgressions, whatever they may be, to suggest that he is more, and again, to quote the guy, wrong than Hillary's extremely careless, see FBI Director James Comey for that term, that her use of a personal server while Secretary of State, to suggest that Trump's idiocy is more wrong than what this whole email thing, that's even more laughable.
It's ridiculous. And yeah, there's no such thing as transparency in anything Clinton.
Oh my God. I mean, you look up lack of transparency. Her picture's there. It's just unbelievable. But again, you know, blatant partisan politics. Anyway, this guy Lerner told the Examiner that the overall intent is is to figure out whether, quote, Mr. Trump and his wife violated our nation's immigration laws prior to the election. Yet, by the way, those of you who may feel inclined to click on the link, he doesn't say what any of that is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just, and again, blatant partisan politics.
They just say stuff to see what sticks.
You know, that's what I'm thinking. That's exactly what I'm thinking, because this is completely ridiculous. Anyway, Trump, a member of the Bush family. Does Jeb still live in Florida? I would guess he does.
I think he does. I'm pretty sure he does live here.
Yeah, so a member of the Bush family just urged Republicans, first member of the Bush family, to actually support Donald Trump.
Who was that? It's not Jeb.
No, it's not W either. It's George P. You know who he is?
Is that Jeb's son?
Yeah, he's a good-looking young guy. You know, I think he's either in office doing something in Texas or ran a couple years ago. But he is suggesting that that Republicans support Donald Trump. I'm pretty sure he did not clear that.
With Dad?
Not that he needed to. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting, actually. I did know that he ran for something because I saw those articles before.
It was not like a high level. He's still a young guy.
No, he's starting. Yeah, he he just got out of law school not too long ago, from what I
Yeah.
understand.
He looks like half Hispanic, right?
He does. He does. He
Is
looks like
that
he definitely
proper?
looks like
Yeah.
his dad, and but he has the
Part of his mother's.
Latin look. Yeah.
Anyway, I thought that was interesting. Um, okay, he's the land commissioner of Texas. The article says, which is generally a stepping stone for higher office in the Lone Star State. I think that's kind of cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. You know, we've talked before, and I've had guests on who disagree with me, particularly of late. You know, when I didn't skewer Cruz for suggesting at the Republican convention that Republicans vote their conscience, as he said. But heck, I don't know. You know, I I myself waffle back and forth between do I hold my nose and pull the Trump lever, because I know the other lever has Hillary's picture next to it, or do I sit it out and wait for 2020? So I mean, I kind of understand that all.
It's a difficult election. Let's just put it that way.
It's a very difficult election. See if I have time to get to this. I think I do. This is the Krauthammer thing, and I did not, like I said, there was no video. This was a column he wrote, the Washington Post. Dr. K, I love Charles Krauthammer. Not a big fan of Hillary. I'm sorry, Donald Trump. But he stinging rebuke of Donald again, which he does almost daily. I think I can get through this. In an op-ed for the Washington Post on Thursday, syndicated columnist, blah, blah, blah. And he's a psychiatrist, by the way. Did you know that?
I didn't know he was a psychiatrist.
Yeah. He decided to, he analyzed the Trumpster. Part of his column, he says, quote, again, Trump's hypersensitivity and unedited, untempered Pavlovian responses are, shall we say, unusual in both ferocity and predictability. This is beyond narcissism. I used to think Trump was an 11-year-old and undeveloped schoolyard bully. I was off by about 10 years. He needs no more primitive. His needs are more primitive, an infantile hunger for approval and praise, which is true, a craving that can never be satisfied. He lives in a cocoon of solipsism, where the world outside himself has value, indeed exists, only insofar as it sustains and inflates him. Most politicians seek approval, but Trump lives for the adoration. He doesn't even hide it, boasting incessantly about his crowds, his standing ovations, his TV ratings, his poll numbers, his primary victories. The latter are more prized because they offer empirical evidence in his mind of how loved and admired he is. He just hit the nail completely on the head.
I don't know. I think it is that of the persona that's definitely hitting the nail on the head, but I don't know if he's actually like that in his real life. I don't know.
The people who know him say he's not.
That's what I'm saying. It's like there's the people. It's like what stars do all the time. Like there's their public persona where like they're the asshole or they're this or they're that, you know. And in real life, they're completely different people. So I just don't know how to tell. But yes, the person that he portrays in public, definitely, I think that fits that description completely.
But you know what? I mean, there's also, you know, there's also the line of reasoning that the longer you listen to someone, the more you let them talk, the more they finally reveal exactly to you who they are. There are other similar lines. I mean, you know, when he's backed into a wall, when someone is backed into a wall, I mean, how they react reveals a lot about them and their character. And I just, you know, to suggest that Donald Trump has not behind closed doors through the years called adversaries names, ridiculed them, maybe not in public, but to their face, to suggest that that hasn't happened to me defies the reality that we've seen over the last year.
Yeah, but who doesn't call people names like in private? You know?
Yeah, no, I know that when they get ticked, but there's just this kind of this whole. So I would tend to agree with. I'm not a psychiatrist and I don't play one on TV. I would tend to agree with Krauthammer. Anyway, we got to get out of here. We will be right back. Speaking of 11-year-olds, we have a awesome clip from an 11-year-old. We'll be right back.
Will I be a good man? Will I be true? True to myself, be true to you. The devil is...
Doug, I never thought I could go back to school, but when it's this easy, it fits.
I'm right there with you, Jackie, taking classes, watching lectures in the living room on the iPad. It's not hard.
I can be a mom, make dinner, get my classwork done, and not miss a moment with my family. It's amazing.
Yes, it is.
Hey, it's Jackie Velasquez, and if Doug and I can do this, you can do this too. Higher education with Liberty University Online.
Find out more about completing your college degree at the world's largest Christian university, Liberty University. Get all the details right now. Grab your cell and dial pound 250. When prompted, say the keyword Liberty University.
Training champions for Christ since 1971, Liberty University Online. Find out more about learning online. Dial pound 250, then say the keyword Liberty University.
Liberty University Online with hundreds of degree programs to choose from. Call now, pound 250. Say the keyword Liberty University.
That's pound 250, say keyword Liberty University.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Okay, we debated off off camera, and I'm saying that facetiously, whether Donald Trump behaves in public the way he behaves behind the scene, and I just think after that long, you just learn who people are. All right, so I mentioned another 11-year-old, and when I say another, Krauthammer alluded to Trump behaving as an 11-year-old, but we have a clip that Jessica, this was very cool, and I'm not sure when this happened. It was at the end of the week, maybe on Saturday, but let me set this up. During a rally in North Carolina last week, this young guy's name is Matthew Schricker, 11-year-old guy. He asked Mike Pence a question about how Pence reacts to stuff Donald Trump says. This happened on Friday as I scroll through my own article. Chris Jansing, who I don't like a whole lot of people on MSNBC, but she was the host. And let's just roll tape, as they say, and listen to I believe in the clip, I haven't looked at this since Saturday, but she plays within the clip a clip of Matthew's question, and then let's listen to what she says and how he responds. I thought this was very cool.
Away from his running mate on issues like endorsing House Speaker Paul Ryan, and one concerned citizen, an 11-year-old boy who challenged his loyalty at a rally in North Carolina yesterday.
I've been noticing that you've been kind of softening up on Mr. Trump's policies and words. Is this your role is this going to be your role in the administration?
Number one, this the future. Nicely done. Let me tell you what, I couldn't be more proud to stand with Donald Trump, and we are shoulder to shoulder. in this campaign. Sometimes things don't always come out like you mean, right? And Donald Trump and I are absolutely determined to work together. We have different styles. You might have noticed that.
Joining me now, 11-year-old Matthew Schricker and his mom, Mary. Thanks to both of you. By the way, you look very handsome this morning, Matthew. I have to ask you, because that's a pretty brave thing to get up in front of a vice presidential candidate. Was that a question that you came up with? Did your mom help you? And what did you think about his answer?
It was a question that I came up with, and I was very satisfied by his answer. And it was not. I was not meaning for it to be hostile, as you said before. I was challenging him. No, I was not. I was totally just asking him to see if he was, if Mr. Trump was approving. I was not trying to be mean to him or challenging him or trying to bait him like many websites who were saying that I was grilling him. I was not doing anything to offend him or the Trump campaign.
Well, I think actually I meant it as a compliment that you asked a tough question, which was a good thing, I think, and he answered it to your satisfaction. What was, though, behind that question? Did you have some concerns about whether he supported Donald Trump? Was what was going on?
I had no doubt about how he supported Donald Trump. I was just a little worried about if he was balancing the ticket, or if he was kind of distancing himself from the Trump campaign. And I just wanted to see a little bit. It was kind of nagging on my mind a little bit as I kept reading each report. So I just got a chance and I said it out loud. Answered me.
Matthew, have you ever heard of Alex P. Keaton?
Wait, can you say that again?
Alex P. Keaton was a character in a TV show back in the 80s, and he was a very, very smart young man who was conservative, which is, I think, what you are. The difference, Mary, is maybe not the difference. I don't know. His parents, the fictional character, were liberal. Is the Schricker family all on the same page with this? Are there fights at the dinner table? Because obviously politics is something that gets talked about in your household, because you wouldn't have a son like that otherwise.
He's the youngest of our 3 children. Our 2 daughters are perhaps not necessarily of quite the same political passion. However, yes, a lot does get discussed at the dinner table about politics.
Matthew, do you try to convince your sisters, or do you try to bring them over to your side? What is your? This is something is obviously a lot of interest to you.
If I tried to approach them about politics, they just start yelling at me and all this other stuff. They start being hysterical. They really loathe politics, and I respect that. So I try to not make them mad, because I love my sisters and I don't want to make them mad that much.
Well, we like that. As somebody who's a sister, I like that as well. What are you going to be when you grow up? Do you know?
I might be a lawyer. There's a slim possibility of going into politics, but it depends on the time and place.
Spoken like a politician. Matthew and Mary Schricker, thank you for taking the time to come on the program. And I hope you don't feel we misrepresented you in any way, Matthew.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
you. Was that awesome or what?
I love that kid. That's amazing.
Jessica messaged me Old Soul about him. And I mean, there are a lot of whatever age, really smart people that you can figure out easily that they're smart at a young age. But I mean, the guy is not only, using terminology like they loathe politics. Most 11-year-olds don't say loathe, right? Talking about that he might go into politics. Wants to be a lawyer, but he might go in politics, but what did he say? It depends on the time and place, or what have you. But that's impressive as hell to me. I mean, he could have been defending Hillary or Tim Kaine, and I would be just as impressed.
I mean, yes, I think I think he was very impressive. It actually kind of when the lady asked him what he wanted to be when he grew up, and he was talking about being a lawyer. Like, that reminded me of a time when I was in middle school too, and yeah, because there was something that happened, and like one of our things didn't get funding at one of the clubs I was in. And I was asking questions like, was this a verbal contract? What's going on with this? Blah, 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 blah. Like, I just was like trying to find out information. And they're like, are you looking to be a lawyer when you grow up? I'm like, I felt like these were logical questions.
You know what? And before, like when I was looking at this and deciding whether I was going to write it as an article, and listening to the clip, excuse me, I started immediately thinking, not immediately, but as I listened to him, the Michael P. Keaton thing popped in my brain as well, and then she references it at the end. What was the name of that? Family Ties or something?
Yeah, it was Family Ties.
So, and of course, as she made the point, Michael was conservative, and these Trumps were like late 60s, 70s hippies. But
oh, they were super hippies. Yeah, I remember that.
I actually watched that show a bit. And you know my history with watching television.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
not
that
a lot.
was a long time ago where it was just like there was like 8 channels total.
But you know what? Back then I watched, let me think of the comedies I watched. I watched MASH, and Barney Miller.
Yeah, I didn't watch. I seen a couple episodes of MASH.
And I remember watching Dallas, which now looks very hokey. But yeah, I didn't watch a lot back then. And to your point, yeah, there were like 8 channels. So, but anyway, got a kick out of that young man. I think he has a bright future.
I certainly believe so. He was very sharply dressed. His mom's like, I can't believe that we're here
And
right now.
I know, and as you said, well, speaking of his mom, I mean, the look of pride on her face was awesome. But like you said, man, he was serious, right? He's all dressed right and like Michael P. Keaton-ish. And he was like serious. He wasn't goofing around. And he had conviction about what he's talking about.
Oh yeah, and that last answer was like great. Where it was really like a political statement.
Yeah, and my sisters know, they go crazy and hysterical or whatever if I brought up politics. And I'm guessing they're older than him. So
yeah, he's the youngest, they said.
You know what? I missed a Hillary thing that I want to touch on. We know how Democrats play to the Black Matters crowd, right?
Yes.
The majority of them, and we know how they give, I shouldn't say give lip service to the nation's police officers, but they are loath to say all lives matter, let alone blue lives matter, right? I mean, that's just, they can't, because they're always, anything a Democrat says, supports, proposes, I haven't said this for a while, but I've said it a lot, can normally be traced in 1 to 2 dots to the voting booth, right? That's just who they are. And I've said to the contrary, I believe that most true conservatives who understand free markets, who understand taxation, who understand legal immigration, I believe that most conservatives who understand those issues really believe in them. And I think a lot of it can be demonstrated. A lot of it being conservative positions can be demonstrated based on facts, data, history, and the like. But anyway, I just threw the little soapbox issue in there. All right, so the National Fraternal Order of Police, right? Mm-hmm. Nation's largest police union. They claim somewhere in the neighborhood of 335,000 members. Here's my headline from yesterday. This is a big one too. I mean, just in terms of interest, and again, like I said before, I always gauge the attention by something that resonates with people. But my headline was, America's largest police union got a, quote, powerful message, unquote, from Hillary. They couldn't be more shocked. Let me just read the first paragraph. I do short first paragraphs, by the way. I mean, they're very kind of anal about how I phrase stuff. I mean, the whole article, because I want it to be easily readable instead of like really, okay, I'm on a tangent. But all right, the president of the National Fraternal Order of Police, nation's largest police union, is upset with Hillary Clinton after her campaign informed the union that she would not be seeking its endorsement.
Interesting.
Doesn't want it. FOP President Chuck Canterbury told The Hill, it sends a powerful message. To be honest with you, I was disappointed and shocked. You would think with law enforcement issues so much in the news that even if she had disagreements with our positions, that she would have been willing to say that. And they met with her, Canterbury and several officials. No, actually, they met with Trump. Again, I'm scrolling through my own article, at Trump Tower on Friday. And I think we know that Trump actively seeking the endorsement, which has not happened yet, but he has spoken, not at every campaign stop, but about the nation's police officers and the great job they do in protecting them. And not to suggest that Hillary has not thrown some of that stuff out there. But anyway, they refuse to meet with Hillary because their standard operating procedure is before they will endorse anyone or even consider it, they have this required questionnaire that they send out, right? Okay. They want to know how people feel about this, and that. And they said, this guy said, again quoting, "We were talking to the highest levels of the campaign and we had all indications that she was going to return the questionnaire. And on the deadline date, the very day, we were advised that they declined."
Wow.
Yeah, and if someone cannot read between the lines here, then they haven't been paying attention to the Democrats and Hillary Clinton.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And of course, she has she's been all over supporting Black Lives Matter.
Yes, definitely.
All over it for months, since virtually the beginning.
Well, at first, she thought it was her way to get Bernie, because since Bernie was getting...
that part's true. Yeah, he was getting hammered. I mean, they went on stage and went after him.
Yeah, exactly.
So she tweets on Saturday. This is after she declines to return the questionnaire, to even fill it out. On Saturday, she tweets. Here's a I include the tweet in the link. She said, quote, "Something is profoundly wrong when so many Americans have reason to believe that our country doesn't consider them as precious as others because of the color of their skin." Hillary Clinton, July 7th. And then in the actual tweet, she says, "Alton Sterling matters. Philando Castile matters. Black Lives Matter."
Yep.
That's the pandering of Democrats. Some are worse than others. They all tend to be bad, in my humble opinion, as it relates to pandering. Is just it is so transparent. Which again, I've said this before too. I cannot understand for the life of me why. This goes back over 50 years. I mean, LBJ's, you've heard me say this before, but war on poverty, the whole Great Society thing, and every year thereafter, the trillions of dollars that have been spent, and look at the condition of urban blacks today. I mean, from single mothers to drug use to gun violence to just on down the line. Yet, I saw a poll over the weekend. And was I shocked? No. 1%. Trump is drawing 1% among blacks. Hillary's drawing 99.
Yeah, exactly.
She met last week with Black Lives Matter co-founder Alicia Garza. Did not receive the endorsement. Garza slammed Hillary, I think week before last, saying, quote, "She only uses black people for votes and photo ops, but doesn't, again, quote, do anything for black communities after she's elected."
Exactly.
But it doesn't make any difference.
It doesn't. Well, it's kind of like Obama, like when there was that skit on SNL where there's like, oh, he did this, or like just the outrageous, ridiculous, terrible things. And it's like, oh, yeah, and then they would be skewering him, and then they're like, but would you vote for him? And they're like, of course, man, of course.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
So it's the same thing.
Well, it's exactly the same thing. There was, I think on the old show, I played a clip of this, but this is when he first ran against McCain, and Howard Stern of all people, sent a pretend reporter into the streets of Harlem asking folks of color, prefacing the question with pretending that on down the line that all of McCain's policies were Obama's policies, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And to a person, oh yeah, you should vote for Obama. In fact, the final question in most of the short interviews was, so you don't have a problem with the fact that Sarah Palin is Barack Obama's running mate? No, Sarah, she's a good woman.
Yeah,
You know?
that's the thing. It's insane to me how they do that.
So you can't make it up.
Yeah.
Do you think, let me ask you this, do you think that the Democrats will be able to lock down forever, and I say forever in quotes, but the Hispanic vote, it's never going to happen in the proportion that it is mentioned, 99-1, or, it's been, Obama consistently approval rating among blacks, 95%. Do you think that the Democrats are going to be able to hoodwink Latinos for as many years as they have black Americans?
Not to the same extent, but I do think that if Hillary wins this time, it's pretty much this is what's going to happen.
Well, that's, and that's a whole different thing as it relates to changing demographics and, what they'll do with immigration laws and or de facto amnesty and everything. And then if she does win, and once they secure a strong majority in the Supreme Court, it's all over but the shouting.
I think they won't. The thing is I think that they won't be able to, because the Hispanic countries, there's so many of them, and everybody has their own mentality. Like South America, vastly different from the Caribbean.
Sure.
And so and there's a lot of, so I don't think they'll ever be able to they won't be able to completely subjugate a group of people like they have.
And to get dangerously close to non-PC stereotyping, and let me qualify it to say, I don't know that the majority, but a large portion of Latinos that risk the coyotes in Mexico and everything else getting here to this country to work and send money back home, and this is the kind of non-political stereotyping thing, I think that the work ethic among those people is larger than among certain segments of some other people.
And the other thing, well, the other part.
I mean, do you agree with that?
Oh yeah, there's a huge work ethic in
the Latino community,
the Latino
right?
group. Yes, I think that there's a lot of things that well, actually, I notice it a lot. Like, there's people that'll be complaining about how hard their life is, and I'm like, really, guys?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Look at what my grandfather.
Start showing the pictures of Haiti and Ecuador and
it's like my grandfather didn't have a pair of shoes until he was 13 because he bought them himself. Like, I don't really care about your problems right now.
Well, I mean, I think we're on the same page. I mean, I would think that after a while, that. And again, I don't know what percentage, neither do you, but a large percentage of the Latino community would see through the whole Democrat shtick.
Well, that's what I was going to say is I think that right now they're getting a lot of support because, the media here, like as I said, has always been hugely left-leaning. And when there's only two stations, when there's only two stations, now there's a lot more, but there was only two stations, and they were heavily like on the MSNBC side of things.
Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And then the other part that's helping the Democrats right now is all the stuff that they are selling about, the immigration thing with, like there's all the stories of, oh, look how they're destroying those poor Mexicans, and all this stuff that, all they wanted to do is work here, where, which is not true. But as soon as, and that's the thing, but Latinos also notice, like, hey, if they notice that they're getting a raw deal, they're gonna, like, they really do uprise. Like, they're not, like,
and that's great.
the thing.
That's great.
Yeah.
And not only MSNBC, but I believe the number one station by far that Latinos in America listen to is, and I'm going to try to say this properly, is Univision.
Univision, yeah.
Yeah, I can't do that, but yeah.
Univision and Telemundo are like, we're always the
I wish I
two.
could talk. I wish I could do the accent. I can't. I don't have time to monkey with it. But
Yeah, but those
okay,
two.
that was kind of condescending, wasn't it? Monkey with. All right, we have like 5 minutes.
Yes.
I hope we don't go one over, but bear with me here. But I don't know if we're going to get the Pope thing or not, because if we don't, we'll get to that Wednesday. But I mentioned some idiocy in on the left as it relates to college campuses, campi, as Rush likes to say. Here's a headline, and I'm going to go through these kind of quickly. This is from Campus Reform. Great site for this kind of stuff, by the way, you guys. Campusreform.org. Illinois College defends, quote, blacks-only course offerings. In other words, they have blacks-only course offerings. If you're not black, Jessica, you can't take them
in this
there.
class?
Huh? Yeah, you can't.
That's
Bullet-
insane.
Well, of course it is. And here are bullet points from the top of the article. An Illinois college has restricted certain sections of a mandatory introductory course to black students. Moraine Valley Community College maintains that the segregated classes are intended to help students feel more, quote, comfortable, noting that it also offers courses specifically for veterans and older students.
Oh my gosh.
Can
I
you imagine a
cannot-
conservative Christian college with a mandatory course in its curriculum restricting it to white students only?
That would be like pitchforks and fire. That's insane. I can't believe that they went
It's just
that far.
unbelievable.
It is. I can't believe they've gone that far. Like, this is where we are right now. Are they going to have Chinese only, like Spanish only? Are we really only get put in one classroom? Like, this is insane.
Your namesake, Jessica Crotty, this is the Assistant Director of Communications of Moraine's, explained, quote, sometimes we set aside sections for specific populations, including veterans, as I just said. The focus can be on specific issues they face. For example, veterans face a specific set of challenges. Students feel more comfortable and are more likely to open up because they're with other students who are like them. So there's that out there.
Oh my gosh.
Here's another one. Nah, I don't want to do that one. We've done these before, where they're getting after, the use of pronouns and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We've done those before. Here's another one. Liberal students. Sustainability signs urging people to take the stairs are, quote, fat-shaming and ableist.
Okay.
You can't make that up, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Young woman from the University of Queensland in Australia expressed outrage with the sustainability signs. On her blog, she claimed, quote, not only are these new signs annoying, patronizing to everyone reading them, but also ableist and fat-shaming. She goes on and on. I don't care what she said. All right, this one's from actually Seattle government, city government. This is, again, you can't make it up. This is on the Daily Caller. The headline reads, Seattle city government sponsoring, quote, white fragility workshops.
White fragility?
Yeah.
I don't.
The two white fragility workshops, you could read that two different ways, right? If you didn't know, take place on August 17th, on September 7th, blah, 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 so 4 hours each. The workshops will focus on, quote, the specific way that racism manifests through white fragility.
Okay.
The city website says, defines white fragility as, quote, the inability for white people to tolerate racial stress. Each workshop also, quote, provides the perspectives and skills needed for white people to have more constructive cross-racial interactions.
Wow.
I think these people, we're under a minute, but I think these people need to get together with that college in in Seattle and sort stuff. I'm sorry, in Illinois and sort stuff out. Anyway, there's more stuff. We got the Pope, but we're going to talk about him on Wednesday. That is not time sensitive. What is time sensitive is we're out of here. You guys, thanks for listening. Tell your friends, share the link. Jessica and I will be back on Wednesday. Thanks again.
To get her